Let's talk about comma splice. Now, a comma splice would refer to the incorrect use of comma to separate two independent clauses. Now, splice, as you know, means cut. The reason that this arrow is called comma splice is because the comma is cut between two independent clauses. An independent clause is another way of referring to complete sentences. It is an idea that it can stand on its own because it has a subject and a predicate that include a verb. But in other words, we can read the idea on its own and it's complete. It does not depend on anything else in order to make sense. It's just stand alone and it makes sense. But it is, combined with a dependent clause. This sentences is an example of an independent clause. The sentences is the subject, and is an example of independent clause is the predicate. Together, they form a complete idea that they can stand on its own. So, why is it wrong? If we simply put a comma between two complete ideas, there's no relation between them. Each idea can stand on its own, so we need to fix this using one of three techniques. Replace the comma with a period, since the two ideas in comma splice are independent, and we can simply punctuate them as two separate ideas. Using a period to replace the comma is the quickest fix. Bad comma splice example would be, this sentence is an example of independent clause. There are many examples of independent clause. Now these two sentences are independent, and it can be read on their own. But we should separate this in two separate sentences and replace the comma with a period. A good comma splice example would be, this sentences is an example of independent clause, comma. There are many examples of an independent clause. Okay. So, how can we fix comma splice? What is another way? Well, there are another way to fix a comma splice, and we can use is by using a conjunction to express the relationships between the two ideas, which are using a comma and a coordinating conjunction, the fanboys. Remember that fanboys is acronyms for the coordinating conjunctions we can use to fix a comma splice: for, and, or, but, or, yet, so. A bad comma splice example would be, there are many different types of ice cream. Vanilla is my favorite. Well, the idea is these two sentences are related to each other, but we can pick the conjunction but and use a comma before to repair this comma splice. So we just add but in between these two sentences, and then it will make sense. It will be a good example. Although using a comma between two independent clauses is incorrect, using a semicolon between them is perfectly acceptable. This is also one of the easiest fixes for comma splice, since we just need to add a dot above the comma. So let's say this example. I used to play many different sports, football was the sport I play the most. Well, we have two independent ideas here, so by replacing the comma with a semicolon, it's a quick and easy fix. Just add a dot above the comma. So here, the letter after the semicolon will be lowercase, remember that. So just by adding a dot above the comma, it is already right. It is already correct. So I guess that's all about comma splice. Just refer to incorrect use of comma to separate two independent clauses. Remember, there are many ways, but do not use comma between them.